Good evening and welcome everybody to the regular Gilbert Council meeting of May 8th, 9th, starting at 6:02 p.m. Here tonight versus Tuesday, our regular meeting because of the elections last night in this room. All right, can we have a roll call?
Councilor Vertachnik.
Present.
Councilor Horn.
Here.
Mayor Oberstar.
Here.
Councilor Skrillex.
Here.
Councilor Thompson.
Here.
All right, we have a quorum, we can have a meeting. Would everybody rise and help me with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, and no additions to the agenda?
If you're okay with this, the cemetery board sent me an additional set of meeting minutes for April 1st. We have the March 4th ones in here. Just want to add that April 1st one. And I believe that's all the additions that I have.
I'm okay with that, and we'll take recommendations afterwards somewhere down in, we're in the Sam's area, okay, even though he's not here, all right?
Correct.
I'm okay, everybody okay with that addition?
Yep.
All right,
Actually, I do have one addition too. Didn't have a chance to cover it in the last one, but we've got a printout here. I don't know where this goes. I don't know if it goes under the campground host portion, but this is just the discussion from Dawn about changing how we do some of the payments. I'd just like to have a chance to have this conversation. I think we could have a discussion and give direction to have Mike take care of it, but I want to have time to have the conversation.
you wanna add to the agenda?
Yeah.
That item I.
Sure.
Remind me of that, okay? Okay, on the minutes of the regular meeting of March 25th,
Well,
Need a motion on that?
motion to
For
add
the
it.
addition?
I'll make the motion to add it under I, clerk administrator report.
Second.
moved by Councilor Skirvik, supported by Councilor Vertachnik to add Councilor Skirvik's request for, on the campground issue to be added to the agenda.
Yep.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, back to the consent agenda. The minutes of the regular meeting of March 25th. Page 2, under the very top part, motion by, for the 3rd of July celebration, we should add that they wanted something added to the utility bill. If you go to the first page, they asked for all those requests, plus,
Republican announcement on their utility bill, Carl?
yeah, remember they asked, plus those other items
Yeah.
about
Yep.
that, we left that out on that motion. Okay? And kind of like, okay to all the requests, right?
I'm good with that. Carl.
Yeah. And then one more other thing, page 3, the sanitation agreement, add, before the motion carried, add contingent of the city attorney review, signing off on it.
Correct.
That should be in the record.
I'll bring it up with Marion.
It's not in there.
I'll bring it up.
Contingent upon the city attorney, we okayed it contingent upon the city attorney blessing, signing off on it, review, or whatever you want to call terminology, all right? If you're not okay with it, then it's not okay. Follow me?
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. It should be,
You get them when I get them,
yeah,
so I,
yeah. Yeah, okay,
I can't
just-
do the meeting minutes too?
that's okay, but, well, we caught it, and we put it back,
Good job.
put it on there. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Other than that, anything else, corrections or additions? Plus, we got the April 1st cemetery board minutes here, and we'll take recommendations later on that, too. All right, okay, somebody will move on consent agenda?
I'll move to approve the consent agenda with those changes.
Second.
Moved by Counselor Skirvik, supported by Counselor Horn to approve the consent agenda with the changes made or corrections and additions. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, public input. Anybody in the audience tonight have anything they wish to discuss with the council other than what's on tonight's agenda? Sir, can come to the podium and turn it on. Leo, help this gentleman and state your name and address the council.
My name is Dale Pullman. I wrote a letter to the council,
Yes. Okay,
and
yeah. All right, Dale, okay. Thank you for coming. This council has looked at your request, and this council has decided not to give any break.
no,
That's all I can tell you.
okay. Reason being,
Reason?
yeah,
That goes in.
I know the city has done it in the past.
Well, I guess the reason being is not the problem of the city. We took a long discussion on it. It wasn't not an easy thing. We deliberated real well, pros and cons, okay? But the consensus of the council, majority was to not give any variance on it, so, to leave it be, so.
Okay, and then they wouldn't even allow a payment off on it, or cash up front, or what? Because I don't have the cash.
Well, it was brought up that you would pay 2,000 or half of it, and that was a no either. You got any other options you want to think of to address this with?
No, I got a buyer for the house. It's through a friend, and there is a down payment issue, but he doesn't have the money, so he's going to pay me in bits and pieces also. And
Is there hardship involved here at all?
a what?
A hardship for you? Any hardship?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm dying.
Oh.
I was diagnosed with a rare blood disease a year ago that I live one day at a time.
Do you have anything other offer that you would like to tell us about? Another offer to rectify this situation?
Well, I don't know what kind of offer you're looking for. I mean, like I said, I can come up with a couple $1,000 to try to resolve this so I can get a new owner in there. I don't have $4,300 to pay for a water bill right now.
Okay, well, we talked about it earlier, and the council, if you can address the gentleman now. I was okay with the $2,000. I would take that. I think it's a fair amount based on what your situation was. We've done it in the past. We've been fair to people that are in these types of situations. Can we do it 800 times at one time? No, we can do it one at a time, though.
Okay.
And I was okay. I think to be fair, you are part of the city as everybody else is, and you offered a fair amount. And I don't know if you're going to not open up sell the place or not. So we will lose another home there with the property tax not being ongoing for years to come. I don't know if that's going to happen or what.
The gentleman that's buying the house is a chef for Whistling Bird and Boomtown.
So is he willing to pay for that, or no? Or-
No, he doesn't have the money, that's why I said we agreed on a down payment, but the down payment would be paid to me in whatever he can afford. And then he was gonna take over the mortgage on the house.
Counselor Horn,
So sometimes when purchasing a property, you'll have the option during close. So for instance, if you were to pay the city what you can, pay the city directly, once you go to close on selling of that property, they're gonna check to make sure everything's paid off, stuff like that. You can usually work that into your closing documents.
I don't have any closing, this is just a written piece of paper between me
Okay.
and another guy.
Okay, because I was gonna say, obviously, when you sell the house, part of the sale of the house would pay off any debts. So that would be an option.
Yeah, I'm not getting any money for it up front.
At some point, you will have to have a title company
Yes.
clear that title
Yep.
and transfer it to the other person.
Yep.
That title
You'll
company
have
will
to.
call the city hall and ask if there is a lien on the property, and as of right now, this bill is not paid, and there is a lien on the property, so the title will not go through.
Well, that's why I'm trying to resolve it, I can pay half of the bill and, hopefully, justify the water bill. I just don't have the $4,300 to pay it, and if I don't have the $4,300, then there's no sense in selling the house, so it's empty.
okay. Well,
Only one other potential option that I can think of, and that would be some kind of a compromise where part of this debt is certified to their property taxes and is paid in the future by the new owner, but that's a big step, and that's a lot of ifs in there. So if the guy doesn't have a down payment now, is he gonna be able to pay the additional property taxes to resolve this? That's why these things are usually cleared up at closing, but that's all I can think of.
There's an escrow, nobody lives in the house right now. And there is an escrow account in there, so taxes and insurance all come through the mortgage. And he's basically just paying the mortgage. Or taking over the mortgage for me.
But the bottom line is, this is a debt that needs to be paid, and if we agree to take the $2,000, that remaining $2,300 gets distributed to all of the citizens of Gilbert. And I can't justify to the citizens of Gilbert that they should take on somebody else's debt.
Yeah, and like I said, like I'm saying again, the city has done this in the past. So I guess I'm just looking at that avenue of it.
this is water we're talking about, lots of water. We can say, yeah, we treated the water, we spent some money on that.
Yeah.
How much did we actually spend on that? There's no big loss to the people of Gilbert at all here.
I
In my
understand.
view, anyways, there's water that went down the drain. And it was treated, there's a cost to that, I understand that, but still, I think we're able to make some kind of adjustment in your case, with you coming before us, you're appealing it, you're telling us you're basically some kind of a hardship here. And just to get this thing rectified, for this issue, I'm stepping off the chair for Mr. Vertochnik to take over my motion to rectify this and do a 50-50 deal with you, sir. You pay 50% of that $4,300 amount, and it would be case closed.
I would agree to that.
That's my motion.
So we have a motion by the mayor. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Hearing no second, the motion fails. Case closed.
I'm sorry, sir, it was failed. It stays as it is. Council voted not to help, okay?
Well, I have one question then. If I have all the utilities shut off there, do I still have to pay any utilities on the house?
No, I don't think so.
You still need to pay the monthly capital charges.
Fees.
You don't have to pay any fees for consumption, because you won't be using anything.
Well, if he has the water shut off, he doesn't have to pay.
You still have to pay them.
Yes.
No.
Water shut off, electric.
You're paying a water availability fee, water's
Yep.
available, you
Yep.
need to pay the capital costs.
Never been that way. If you shut the water off, it's
No,
done.
it's always been that way, Carl.
We changed that.
When snowbirds would used to go.
Yeah, we changed that for the snowbirds. That's
We
not
don't have the
allowed.
ability,
Not
snowbirds
allowed anymore.
can't shut off their
What
water.
about the
changed.
electric and everything?
I guess something has changed, sorry. I guess you still have to pay a base fee, not any usage fee, but just the $5 or $10 or whatever it is.
It comes
Yeah, I might
about
do that.
$103.
Unless
a
you
month
cut your line off.
for your business.
You'd have to cut your line off. You cut your line off, different story, I guess. No.
All right.
I'm sorry, sir. Thanks for coming.
Yep.
All right, anybody else in the audience have something they want to address the council with, other than it's on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on. City councilors, mayor reports. City councilor Vertochnik, you have anything?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Horn?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Skirvik?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Ponton?
I don't have anything tonight either.
I have a couple items here. We passed a sexual assault proclamation last meeting, and they have come to me and asked they asked for permission from the council to, on our electric poles on Main Street or wherever, tie these teal ribbons on, and they would take them down after the month is over with. Teal means Sexual Assault Month, and that's happening in other communities as well. They want to have permission from the council to go ahead and do that.
I'm okay with it as long as they're going to remove them.
And they said they would remove them. They told me that.
Motion then, Bill?
I motion to approve.
A second.
Motion by Councilor Horn, supported by Councilor Vertochnik to give permission to the Sexual Assault Committee from the St. Louis County, or whatever the committee is made up of, to allow them to go ahead and place teal ribbons around our electric poles in Gilbert, wherever they do that, as long as they take them off at the end of the month or proclamation is done. Correct? Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
I
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And then I got a question I want Mike to address the people here and people on TV land. I'm getting a lot of questions of the garbage bill on your property tax statements of $85, a special assessment, waste assessment that has got nothing to do with the city of Gilbert. It's the St. Louis County.
That $85 charge is what every resident in the county pays for the county to operate their landfill. It doesn't pay for the tipping fees and how much garbage you have or anything else like that, but that $85 is collected by the county for every resident in St. Louis County to pay to have a landfill. And that's been put on the property tax bill because it was never accounted for in the past. So it's not like we had extra money sitting there. The city's been eating that cost for years. When that came to our attention and the county was able to put it on the property tax, which they do in most cities, that was, the previous council decided to move in that direction. So that was all taken care of here in the last year.
So this is from the city, then you're saying?
No,
No, from the
it's not from
county.
the city.
It's
The
for the
county.
county, use of the county landfill, that's what it's for.
So, my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong. So, for many, many, many years, the county had been assessed, they still needed to collect this money to run their landfill. At some point, the city had included it in our math for figuring out what our garbage is. At some point, we stopped taking that into an account, and that was causing us to run into a deficit. It's a county cost. The city was not properly looking at that, so the last council made the decision that since this is a county cost, it should go in the county portion of the
Your
property
tax,
tax bill.
individual taxes.
Rather than funneling it through the city, it's one less thing in that formula of the garbage services that the city has to worry about. So they made the decision to move it onto the county bill.
See, the city never made any revenue off it. We never added to the cost or did anything to make it an enterprise activity, but we still had to pay that money to the county. And when those bills kept coming in and nobody was ever collecting money for it, we were running at a deficit. Now we're not. And it's been put on,
So it was budgeted before in the enterprise garbage fund.
No,
it was not accounted for, Carl.
Was not accounted for.
It may have been at one point in time, but at some point it stopped being included properly, which was putting us behind on
But the county still asked us for that money, so we
We
had to pay.
paid the money
So we
twice a
took it
year.
out
out of
of,
the general
out of
fund.
the general fund.
out of general fund, so now, okay. But we're not the only city that has this though.
Most of them do.
Almost everybody.
Most of them do.
Everybody
It's just
does
for
it.
the use. the
Yeah, yeah, right.
individual's use of
Anyone who
the
lives in
landfill.
St. Louis County
Right
pays
to
it.
St. Louis County.
So most cities in county got the
Yep.
same thing.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. So I hope everybody understands that.
We've had people come in, I've had 8 or 9 people ask me about it through visits to the office or phone calls. When we explain it to them, they all understand
Yeah,
it.
well, I've been getting asked, approached by a lot
Yeah.
of people, different places, and I didn't
Sure.
know how to answer them. So that's why I wanted
Yeah,
to do it all at one time. And apparently Leo's got something here.
very good.
On that issue, if I may, over the probably 30 years that I've been on water light on and off, the city has never collected that tipping fee, that $85 now. It's come up to 85, used to be
That's
less.
not a tipping fee.
It's waste assessment,
Well, it's the operating fee for the
right.
Right.
It's waste-
landfill.
waste assessment.
And I believe, Mike, you can correct me, we used to pay 4 times a year, I think around $100 and some thousand quarterly to the county. That should now not have to be done anymore, so you should be able to take that out of your budget. But my
That
question,
high.
but my question is, Mike, if you would check into this, now it's $85 for the homeowner. I also know of businesses that they put on the tax rolls $240. And I'd like to have that clarified, how they justify the two price tags. I've talked to a number of businesses and they got hit hard.
It's a county formula. It goes by how many occupants you have or whatever. It's the county formula that dictates that.
Well, I would like to have Mike check into that and get an explanation,
I did, but you can have them check.
Nelson to check it.
Yeah,
if you would, please, because $85 is one thing to put on a tax rolls, $240 for businesses is a whole different ballgame. It may be a county formula, but I would like to have it documented and answer me that question, why the big difference?
it's for apartment complexes. They get a
Well,
reduced.
businesses.
Well, the business.
I don't want to
is apartment
specify which
complex.
business, but I know for a fact that
I mean,
it's
we're-
on there. It's not $85, it's $240 for business.
And it's
Yes.
also how you're classified. If you're seasonal, it's only $25 a year. So there are some
Yeah,
exceptions to
the
the
county
$85
for seasonals, like
rule.
lake property, it's $25. I pay that to my cabin.
Right.
So I'd just like to have that clarified. Mike, if you could document that and get an explanation, be one way or the other, so I can.
I'll
tell the
contact
business.
Nancy Nelson, I'll call you up and tell you the answer.
I appreciate that, thank you.
Thank you, Leo. All right, I think that's covered. And the only other thing I want to say, I'd like to have this, okay, again, next working session, work with SEH, because some of our, when we're into April, 4 months into the year, people are probably wondering, what are we all doing up here? But we're doing a lot up here, actually. And the priorities, right, I think I see right now, city is is getting this water treatment plant situation rectified, and SEH will come here and spell out how much money has been gathered up, what the bids are, what our options are. And we gotta move on this situation. And I wanna get that straightened away, school property straightened away, and any other, I'm not done with the deputy clerk situation here. You're not Superman, sir, I'm sorry.
Carl, we discussed that in our personnel committee meeting.
Yeah, we're,
We're working on it.
you're not Superman.
Thank
And
you.
and then we got city employees that are retired, and we gotta fix that situation, so we have.
had an
we have a
extensive
lot on our-
discussion about that.
We have a lot on our plate, folks, but we are working on it. And I know everybody's talking about potholes and street milling or replacement or whatever in alleys. I know those are on the list too. We did a $20 million resolution to look for $20 million to help fix our streets and alleys, and remember that, right? I think we did it early in January to send that over to Senator Klobuchar and Congressman Stauber and all these other folks to find that kind of money for
Those have
us.
all been sent out, Carl.
It's all been sent out, and we've got $20 million worth of work, and that type of work we've earmarked to do. So we have not forgotten that either, but we have a lot on our plate, and we are working on them one at a time. And in prioritizing them as well. All right. All right.
And
That's
just a little
my,
touching on that
Yeah.
water treatment plant,
okay.
they have to wait until the SCH, I don't think they're gonna need a whole hour because it's a pretty short explanation what we're waiting for. There's a ceiling of like 5 million on the WIF
Yeah, right.
part.
Yeah.
And by the end of the legislature, they'll know if it can be raised to 10, and then we may be able to get the majority of the money that we're short if the ceiling is raised. And that's what they're gonna tell you at this.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can let them tell the public, but that's basically what they're gonna say. It's a waiting game until the end of May before we find out where we're at.
It's gonna not be at a regular meeting, be at the working session meeting.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of money already ready already. I mean, we don't want to let that go. I mean, talking double-digit money already that I've been talking with, so.
Sure, I think we are $7 to $8 million short,
Oh,
correct?
6 million short.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah,
was,
we have
we
a
were expected to pay a
big gap.
million, put it that way. So we're actually 7 million, but 6,
Well.
we weren't expecting.
Including the soft costs.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it next meeting, but I only, the last time I talked with them, we're only still that million or million and a half short, so I don't know.
That's what they expected us to pay out of pocket,
Yeah,
probably around $1 million. You know, so that wasn't figured in what we're getting, because they
So-
excluded that.
I want to get the council up to date on that and see where we're at so we can look at our options, okay?
Okay.
All right, staff. City attorney, we got no staff here. We're gonna go down to,
With the change in what night we're on, everybody's somewhere else.
yeah,
So they wanted to let you know
we're
that
gonna,
they couldn't make it. and
under
that's why.
Public Works Director, we take up the cemetery board recommendations. Anybody got any, well, I don't know, Mike, the first one, you have to explain that one to me, why the March board meeting minutes were not included and blah, blah.
The packet was done, they weren't on my desk yet, Carl. The same answer I gave at our last meeting. I told them when I had them that I would include them in the meeting, they're here. We got another set after the agenda was made. So instead of hearing that again, why I wasn't here, I provided a copy to each of you. You know, there is a timeline when the agenda's made. If something's not sitting there in the pile, it may not make the cut. But there's not anything pressing on there that's causing a crisis or a leap of some
Okay.
question of faith that we're not gonna follow through. So Sam's already, and I have talked, and he knows what they'd like from him. And he'll work to get the numbers that they're looking for.
The black dirt, okay, I'm okay with your explanation on that. And, which is, black dirt that's gonna be coming soon, I'm sure. Basically, the big one was from the last meeting. Or is it still on here? The lighting, can we get Sam to give us a cost on restoring some lighting to shine up on that crucifix area? I
I
mean,
have a
that,
picture that I put in your packet of what the pole looks like.
yeah.
I took a look up there, where they supposedly,
Yeah, there's always been lighting before, but now it's not there for many, many years, so we want to restore
I
that.
think we need to bury a new wire,
yes.
from my understanding.
Well, it's
And
not
the
only
box
that,
has
but
to
I
be
think the
changed
electrical
also.
box
Yeah.
that the city has, it's a 20
Deteriorated.
amp box. It's metal, and if you open the cover, the inside plate will fall off, which is dangerous, and there's no locks on anything.
Yeah.
Was the
I
council,
think the
It's a
electrician should
hazard,
put-
it's hazardous the way it is.
I think the electrician should put it just a double box,
Yep.
double
We,
breaker.
we have a city electrician who does small projects for us.
And the
This is
lights?
in the budget,
And
we
that
can
would-
do it.
One would be for the lights, one would be for the shack.
is the council okay with all that?
Yeah, I was up there with Rui, I saw it, I'm okay with that, yeah.
Okay, how about Councilors Horn and Skirvik, good?
And
I can't read mine, sorry.
Well, one thing I did mention, though, when we do get the lighting fixed, I was just asked the church to pay like maybe $20 a month for the electric bill, or something like that. That was just my suggestion, and I don't know if, the Catholic Church would be okay with that or
Is
not.
there a meter on it?
There is a meter, but I just threw out a number, $20 a month.
Well, I mean, if we're gonna ask for somebody to pay for it, we should be metering
But
it.
there's also a meter that same meter feeds the other buildings in the cemetery, that they're public buildings. So I just threw out a number, that's all. Do whatever.
Can we just leave it alone? No? Is that okay?
You mean as far
Since we're
as-
already got meters wiring up there for other buildings anyways.
Well,
How much
the
more?
wiring part is fine, but I don't know if you want to donate that electricity to the Catholic statues, that's the question. If everybody's okay with that, I don't know, some people might not. be.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, you got a good point, we could do
Yeah.
that, there's
Yeah,
nothing
right.
wrong with that, because number one, it is city property, number two, it's kinda like there's a lease that's not written anywhere that let them put that cross there many, many years ago. It's like the Ten Commandment thing otherwise, okay? It's not actually city property no more.
Right.
I don't know where it's written in law anywhere, but that's all, I'm paying, if you can't put Ten Commandments on public property, how can you put this? But it's been in there since I've been a kid anyway, a boy. So it must be grandfathered in that they're leasing that piece of property per se, and we cut the grass yet, and it's still a lease. It's not ownership by the Catholic Church. But you can also ask them to pay the lighting, and that's nothing
I
wrong.
mean, I'm just saying, other people might say, well, why are we doing this
No, well,
for the
I'm-
Catholic Church?
I'm not
That's
against-
all.
I'm not against-
I really don't care because it's gonna be minimal.
Yeah.
I
My
really-
suggestion
yeah.
would be, though, that if we go ahead and put a new wire and fix it, or a new box and fix it, whatever's needed, why don't we put some LED lighting so the operational cost is lower? If they have a metal halide light there now or something, it costs a lot of money to run it. If we go to a new LED fixture that at the very most to be $150, we can cut the consumption down by 90%,
Okay.
so.
I'd like to make a suggestion that, I'll be out of town for about a week and a half, but when I come back, I'd like to meet with Sam and the electrician up there to go over what we could use up there, what it would cost and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And see how they can actually fix that the way it should be and not the way it is.
I'd like, before making of any kind of vote on this, I'd like to see some numbers on, like.
That's why I
what
wanna
are we
go up there
talking
with
about?
them
Is
and
this-
see what
is
it's
this
gonna cost.
$500, is this $5,000?
Well, most of it's gonna be the city cost because the city electricity's up there now with the meter on it. And the
Right.
box that they have would never meet code anymore.
Right. Needs to be safe,
Correct.
And if,
So would I get permission from the council to do that?
right,
Consensus is okay, right?
yeah, I have no
No.
problem.
Okay.
Council Warren?
Talk to Sam and we can find
For the
out.
next meeting.
yeah.
They have a budget, seminary budget anyway, so,
This money's budgeted.
yeah, okay,
Sam's doesn't need to bring this in front of the council.
yeah, okay.
This is a tiny little repair. We have money in
And we're-
multiple locations to do this kind of thing. The council has given him the authority to make decisions like this, so that we don't bog you down. But we'll get the numbers here, and we'll put it in front of the council for our next meeting.
Well, you won't be here next meeting.
I'll be here for the next meeting,
Okay.
just for the next meeting.
That's fine.
I'll get with Sam then to find out if the electrician
Okay.
is up there, because I know what they want up there, because I've been up there a number of times.
Okay, then, very good, everybody's good.
Yep.
And then we got dead trees to do, we don't have to take action on that, just have Sam take care of it.
I think, I do wanna comment on that, though, if we do,
Those trees,
if
yeah.
we do use that wood for the
You
campground.
can't.
I don't think I mean, there's no problem, because we're not moving it anywhere out of the
The
city.
thing is, you need kiln dried wood down there, otherwise you get nothing but smoke. You cannot be burning that stuff.
That's true. My concern is,
Right.
if, if we're having city staff do that, that expense needs to come from the
This,
campground.
that's a big project up there. Those trees are that big around. And if you wanna I would suggest the logger comes up there. Just my personal opinion. I don't think our guys can take those trees down. I don't think they have the knowledge how to do it. But you can go up there and give your own opinion, but that's my opinion.
If you look
So
at the
you're gonna end up
if you look at that Calgaro
Calgaro,
website, they do donations sometimes just for this.
yeah.
If they can just take them down.
Yeah,
I'd notify
yeah,
them,
they
because
may do
those-
it for nothing
Those
or
pine trees
a
have got
minimal charge.
interlocking branches
but,
like that, and
Yeah,
one is not gonna come down by itself.
I mean, our crew
mean,
could cut
they-
them up and
yes.
get the branches.
The thing
you
with
know,
them
take
is it's
care of
very
that,
cheap
but-
if they just knock them down and
but
then you
yeah,
take care of the
and they'll
trees.
just leave them there for you to take care. But I would not recommend that our city crew takes them down.
I also wouldn't recommend that we use that wood for the campground, because
No.
that's gonna take staff time to cut and
Yeah,
split it.
it
and,
just smolders
like,
and
it-
lots of smoke.
Yeah.
Nobody wants that at a campground.
Well, it also creates embers
Yeah.
which land on canopies, and then
Right,
we've got
yeah.
damage to, so.
Yeah.
Okay, one last issue on that list is inform the public that grave plots in that northwest section are available for purchasing. Are we doing that somehow, or when people come in, or
They're aware of what's available.
or maybe
Everything available.
put it out on the ticker tape for a little while? Electronic board for a while? Okay?
Generally, it's the funeral homes that
Well, this funeral home usually supposed to probably do that too. Show, well, they gotta come over here and look at us. But just to inform them that it's available. Put it under that,
We'll call a funeral home too, Carl.
okay. I think we covered everything under recommendations.
Well, they're also requesting additional dumpster. What do they need extra dumpsters for in the cemetery?
Dumpster, we're talking about the black dumpsters, garbage
They
dumpsters,
usually
right?
had 3 dumpsters up there. One in the far corner, one by the shack.
Dylan?
yeah.
Well,
Well,
why
put-
are people bringing garbage up to
No,
the
it's-
cemetery?
it's weeds.
It's
weeds and
stuff, usually they're on Memorial Day cleanup stuff, there is the excess, things that,
And
It's
they throw it over
plants,
the wall.
Plants and things
plantings,
like that.
old plants and
Okay.
stuff like that, yeah.
Got it. So it's organic matter,
Yeah, it's organic.
which should
Largely.
go into a black bin anyways.
some of it could be plastic flowers and.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So,
Well, otherwise they go over the wall.
Yes.
right, yeah.
That's not, well, it's fertilizer maybe, I don't know.
But so they'll go over the wall anyway. If nobody's gonna, if the canister's there, they're gonna, whatever. I don't care.
Well, we're okay with that, bringing that under dumpsters up there now?
Sure.
Okay, I think we covered every item there. Very good. All right, I see, Mike, you're up.
Just want to thank Stacy Lampa and the entire election staff who came in here and ran the election yesterday. They did a great job. They cleaned up and we helped them set up. Sam and his crew took care of that, so everything went smoothly, and I want to thank them for being as cooperative as they could and for us hosting them. Also, there's an Iron Range half marathon in August that you guys usually let run through the city. They've contacted us. that's gonna happen again this year. If anyone has any issues with it, just wanted to make the public announcement so that people realize it's coming up.
Mike,
That's
just
all
for,
I have.
just for you to know, looking at my calendar, it was the same thing last year. Just know that that's the third event in the city that weekend. So there's Scuba Palooza down at Sherwood. I'm hosting Trail Jam at my campground, and then we've got the marathon that comes through, the half marathon that comes through. It, Scuba Palooza. Yeah, so it wasn't an issue. Ty was able to get that all working together, and I trust that he would be able to figure that out as far as the traffic. So,
And bringing the traffic.
Get you up. I see they're putting stop lights in at the intersection here. I think they're changing that bridge. I don't know what the impact will be on the city throughout the summer, but Ty has been at meetings, is well aware. He's somewhere else this evening, but well, whatever's happening is happening. It would be good to let the public know.
Yeah, some of the commercial traffic's gonna be coming down the main street.
I do know that MnDOT does have a website for that project now. I'd be more than happy, I can email that to you and have Randy change that on the homepage so that people have a link to it.
I'm gonna back up one issue for Ty or for Sam, city council. I think, I would like to have 2 signs removed up on Summer Street, not stop signs, but school zone 50 miles an hour thing. We don't need those up there no more, so. Just those signs, not the stop signs. Stop signs have been very good. Not a raceway up there no more, no tickets or, almost accidents up there. I'm just talking about school zone 50 miles an hour. Them are signs that,
And then across the street, up in the trees, because the trees have grown, there's school signage as well that needs to come down.
yeah, right.
So basically, just drive along Summit Street and all the school signage.
Yeah, school signs, your council's okay with that?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
then, Mike, do we want to talk about the campground issue?
No,
No.
it's itemized on the list.
Oh, is it, oh, it's under new business. I thought that was under your report.
No, I
Oh.
put it on
Okay, that's fine.
I thought you were gonna put it under I.
It is.
It is,
It is.
new business.
Yep. That's the only eye we got.
Got it.
I.
Okay, there's no old business, right?
GHI.
I under new business, oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. I misunderstood where it was.
All right, okay, no old business, correct, okay. New business, resolution 2025-08, Joint Trails Board. I think self-explanatory, council.
The state asked us to extend it through the end of June 2026.
Was it
To
every
do
f-
that properly, you needed to do a new resolution. And
Every
it
4
cites
years?
the old one.
We've, last one was 2021. You know, it's 24 years later, we need to just expand it, renew it, is what we're saying, I'm trying to say. I'm okay with it. I don't know if I have to read it. Do I have to read it?
No,
Okay. You're gonna post it though, right?
it's posted, it's in the packet, Carl.
I mean, on the board, no?
It's in the packet.
You don't wanna go to put it on the
We don't
public board?
post all our resolutions in the board, Carl.
Okay, all right. All right, I shall go ahead, we approved, resolution 2025-08. I don't see any different language in here, other than the years. We're good till, this is only 1 year thing?
That's all they wanted to extend it at this time. They'll ask for a new agreement when we get there. But
Okay.
for some reason, because of funding and their business cycle, they asked us to extend it through the end of June of 2026. And it's a lot of monkey business for the 2 months, but it needs to be done. So that's how it is.
So looking for a motion if everybody's okay with it.
I move to approve, resolution 2025-08.
I second.
Motion by Councilor Skirvik, supported by Councilor Horn to approve Resolution 2025-08, which is a continuing sponsorship agreement between the cities of Evlith and Gilbert for Joint Powers Trail Board, dealing with the OHV trail, not the bike trail.
Before we vote on that, Mike, there's also, we spelled Gilbert wrong, second to last paragraph, the last word, Gilbelly.
Gilbilly?
Yeah, if we can just get that addressed.
It's a new town.
I'll correct the spelling.
I read it online and I was like, where is it? And I'm like, there it is.
Now that you say that, there was something in the, it's more spelling problem. Okay,
Well, every time I write SEH, it auto-corrects to SHE. So, you know, we do our best, but
any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Posting for public works and wastewater job.
the Personnel Committee met to discuss this. In the last year, we've looked at adding a person here who has a wastewater certification as the hybrid employee, and that's when you come in as operator one. That's how it has been done traditionally. That agreement is with the union and Public Works and everybody else involved. Now that Tim is formally retired, we kind of compensated because it takes some time to hire somebody, so we approved 3 part-time summer people. But we would like to move forward with this, and it was the Personnel Committee's recommendation that instead of just hiring a utility worker, that we hire this hybrid worker if we are able to. And we've had difficulty finding people with that license, but if we're able to, I'd like to post this job up. It has to be posted internally and then externally, but I need your permission to do that. And in their discussion, and if Dylan or Bob would like to comment on that, we thought it would be best if we did that hybrid, if we can.
Yeah, any other conversations on that? I'm okay with
Well,
that.
Okay, yeah. All I'm saying is, if you can have a hybrid at any time, you're gaining because you're getting 2 workers for the price of 1.
Yeah.
Because they have the ability to do anything for the public works also. So it's always, to me, it's a good thing. Yeah, that's all I do that.
It's been successful in the past, so.
Yeah, we were able to do that because Union wanted a 4th person out at the wastewater plant when we had all these issues down there.
Yeah.
So we were able to
Yeah.
fill this half and half thing.
And things have been running much more smoothly now, Carl. I think there's a learning curve with a new plant and stuff, but things are going much more smoothly. But nonetheless, we need to hire somebody, and it was our recommendation that we go for this hybrid person, because in the future, we'll have some retirements and things like that. We're going to need a body there, and they're hard to find. So we'd like to start on that journey early, and that's what I'm asking for, is the approval to post that up.
I'll make the motion to go forward with the hiring
I'll second
and
that.
posting.
Motion by Counselor Vrtajek, supported by Counselor Horn to approve the Personnel Committee's recommendation to post for Public Works / wastewater job internally and then proceed externally if no applicants are, come forward from the city union. Any more discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, say nay. Motion carries. All right, annual flowers for planters. I'm okay with that too. Well, I'm sure
Anybody?
somebody will motion, yeah.
I'm actually not gonna vote on this because I'm the one doing the work. I'll let somebody else vote.
I motion for the city to approve up to $500 worth of flowers for Main Street.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Counselor Horn, supported by Counselor Pondet to approve $500 purchase of flowers for a committee that's gonna be putting it up on Main Street, as we usually do annually. Any more discussion on that?
I have a question on that. I know that in the past, the Sherwood Forest
operator would buy flowers for down there, and if they do, I would suggest that they take money out of the Sherwood Forest account for those flowers. But I know you got a new, manager or whatever you call it, operator, and there's three places they usually put some flowers down there. And I would just suggest that for that portion of it, when they go to get the flowers, that, I don't know what the new person wants to do,
Yeah.
but if you want to put flowers there, you should
Yeah.
allow that also.
This,
You're not putting them-
this is for downtown.
Right,
This
so
isn't
there-
for the camp.
Downtown, but for the,
Yeah,
down
so-
there.
Yeah.
To clarify, I just said that we would be willing to do the work of the planting of the flowers, but the 17 is just what's
Correct,
in
it's
Main
for
Street.
downtown
So
only.
If the city would like help in doing that, we would be able to do that.
I believe Don and Jose will be here on the 23rd,
Yeah,
so we'll talk about it.
but if we need the volunteers,
Thank you.
Go do the work. The money should be there for those flowers. I think they do a couple $100 worth.
All right, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries.
Abstention,
I marked it down.
thank you.
What is it? Extension?
Abstention.
No, abstention. Motion carries, Councilors Pontonen, Vertachnik, and Horn, and Mayor Oberstar voting aye, and Councilor Skirvig abstaining. Heitzman Building Permit Approval. I see Mr. Heitzman is here. Okay,
We discussed this at our last meeting. We had a couple questions. Mr. Heitzman was kind enough to take care of all those things, draw it up properly, and discussed it with the county. We discussed it in our work session. Everything meets all the requirements, and it would be our recommendation that we approve his building permit. So we need a motion from somebody on the
yeah,
council.
we're good to go. We talked about it in length at the last session. Are we good to go, Council?
I took a ride down there, looked at it personally, and I'll make the motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilor Vertachnik, supported by Councilor Skirvik to approve the Heitzman building permit. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Done, okay. Anthony Slavich deck permit.
We discussed this in our meeting. There appears to be a couple of reasons why he's not compliant with the city ordinances. At this point in time, I don't think we can approve that permit.
I think the council is directing the city clerk to explain that to Mr. Slavich.
Correct.
Our findings at our last meeting here, okay? Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Portable bathroom rentals. Also, well, it's been, we've always, actually, the law states, and I'm sure everybody knows this, if you put one in one place, it's gotta be handicapped. If you put two or more, one has to be handicapped, but the first one has to be handicapped. So we need we're only putting one in each location, so we need, first of all handicapped bathrooms by law.
A lot of cities are doing that.
Yeah, right.
A little more comfortable, a little more roomy.
The first one has to be, if you go more, you don't have to have all 80 of them, but the
Yep.
first one actually has to be a handicap one. So now how many are we doing? I don't know, 6, 7, or whatever. Plus, I think we should do that liability thing, because it states in there, if somebody takes this, or, it's a cheap insurance at $8 versus a $600 unit. Have a little insurance for us, something, let's just say somebody runs into it, you put $500 worth of.
I had some kids burn one down in the city. I had some children who burned one down in the city, and it was expensive.
So I think the $8 is cheap enough, isn't it? Or does our insurance
Yes,
company cover that?
Well, we're covered but we have a deductible.
Right, $2,500, that's what might as well.
No, I think it's $250.
Huh?
I think it's $250.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, but nonetheless, it's not expensive, Carl, you know.
so what I'm getting
The
at.
two bids that we have, A1
where
is
the
the
heck
cheaper
they
of the
got
two,
this damn
and whoever makes the motion, if they want to do the insurance, include it in the motion.
We've always done
How
it in the
many-
past, so.
How many units do we have, or do we rent every year? Because there's one up at the big park,
Yeah.
one down by the boat landing, and then
Two
do the ball
beaches.
fields get one?
2 beaches.
There's one up at
One at
Sparta
Sparta
Beach.
Oh, it's Sparta Beach
Yeah.
too.
Gilbert Beach.
I think we probably have 4 or 5 of them, you know.
And this does not count, so when we do the special events, we do just.
No, we bring
for-
those
just
in.
for those weekends, so that's not including those.
Correct.
Or, we don't do anything for 4th of July, do we?
No. Open the bars.
So I hope you do all the handicap parts and an insurance part, that's what I'm asking for.
So there's probably a total of like, what,
A motion?
5 of them roughly?
I motion to accept the A1 Services bid.
For it.
With or without insurance?
If it's $8 per unit per month, that adds up.
It does.
So I say without.
Okay.
You don't want that?
If it's per unit per month, that's gonna add up.
Which it probably would be.
Because the chance of
Oh, it
one
is, yeah.
being damaged.
Usually, if
Slim.
you have 6 units, that's $48 a month, you know. Is it needed?
Well, we've always,
Probably not.
we've
Well,
done
we
it in
certainly
the
meet our
past.
deductible by not doing it. We save enough money to meet the deductible if something were to happen.
We've always done it in the past, that I've been
Yeah.
here.
Well, whatever, that doesn't matter.
Why, this,
You guys make
I
the
say we
motion, I'll
should
write
add-
it down.
So we're gonna buy the insurance then, right?
no, he wants to take it off.
Oh, I don't, well, it doesn't matter to me either way. Yeah.
The piece that's missing from this then is, like, if a unit is destroyed, what is the replacement cost of that?
$600.
Well, there's
It
$600,
was
$700.
Once upon a time,
Handicapped one's probably 8 and a regular one's probably 6.
So we need the insurance then,
yeah,
yeah.
we need insurance.
Yeah.
Well, we have insurance.
So our insurance would
We
cover
would,
a
right, so
destroyed one.
we'd have to pay $250.
Yes, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying,
Which is
Oh, I see.
cheaper.
It's cheaper than to just
Wait
pay
a
the
minute.
deductible. Yeah,
Carl.
right.
How do you know our insurance is gonna pay somebody else's toilet?
It's on our property and we have a rental
Yeah.
agreement, so it's
Right.
ours.
Insurance will cover it. Yeah, yeah.
It's just like if you rent a car.
Yeah.
If you rent a
yeah.
car, your personal insurance covers it first.
If you would like me to, Carl, I will check with our agent tomorrow and make sure, and if it doesn't turn out that way, you can make that decision at the next council meeting to add the insurance.
Well, we add that
Does that
into
sound
our,
okay?
if we're covered, we're good, if we're not, we don't use it, okay? I'm okay
Either
with
way,
that.
So
however
if
you
you're
guys
only
want.
paying 48, or say it's 6 units, 48 times 6, say $50 a month in 6 months, it's $300.
$288.
$300, and if your deductible's $250, I mean, you're right in there.
You're right, it's
Either
not a
way,
big decision
yeah.
either way, guys.
Yeah.
It's 6 of one, half dozen the other.
So we're gonna leave the insurance in there
I
for
say we go.
$5, for $10 difference?
I personally say
It's
no
true.
insurance. Let's hope that our residents don't destroy our property. Like,
It's only, again.
if we don't get a second, you guys can do your own motion. That's just where I stand,
So you
personally.
made the motion then to not
made
get
the
the
motion.
insurance? I'll second not getting the insurance, just to move it along.
The motion by Councilor Horns, supported by Councilor Pontinet to approve A1 sewage for the handicap toilets and needed in Gilbert during the 6 months, minus the rent insurance.
Yep.
Any more discussion of that? I'm not gonna vote no, just to kibosh the whole doggone thing in my view. I don't wanna, everybody say I don't want toilets up there. And then that's what they'll say because I said no.
It's splitting hairs, Carl.
Yeah,
Cost is
it's-
about the same either way.
I know, I want the insurance, but I'm not
And
gonna
if we
say
don't have a
no.
problem, we'll save $300. 288.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. alley pickup April 28th to May 2nd. We posted on there somewhere
We didn't post it anywhere, Carl, because we haven't decided
on the
yet. But
electronic.
we did this last year,
You know,
and if you guys want to do it this year and make a motion, then we will publicly post it.
Somebody make a motion so we can get this posted.
Is that the right dates, though?
Those are the dates that Sam gave me. If you want them to be a different date, they can be.
The other paper we got was in a July pickup or June. Let's see if I can find
That's a
it.
trash pickup thing. That's a different issue. This is for brush and leaves,
Spring cleanup,
spring cleanup.
Oh, this is just the grass part, okay.
spring cleanup.
Oh, that's the other
So
that
this
I
is,
was
this is
thinking
the
of,
one where
yeah.
people have to sign up
Yeah,
for it.
not this one.
No.
That's coming in. June.
Spring,
Yeah.
spring cleanup. This is spring cleanup, annual
It's not
spring
that.
cleanup.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
different one now.
We have fall cleanup and spring cleanup.
Yeah, this is just picking up branches and grass clippings, whatever, from the spring, you know, after the winter damage or whatever you got to, you know. Seeing that it's so early, that's what it must be for,
It is.
yeah.
You could extend the date a little later if you make that motion.
And, you know, it
Do
doesn't
we
matter to
know,
me.
do we know if any of their employees are gonna be on vacation at that time?
I have no idea.
Can we get a copy of their vacation schedules so we can pick, you know, if somebody goes on vacation that day, I don't know if we have enough public works to do this,
I think we can handle it, Rudy.
okay?
So somebody make a motion to approve alley pickup or spring cleanup pickup for the months of April 28th to May 2nd.
Oh, motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilor Skirvik, supported by Councilor Horn to do such. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Okay, now do we have I?
Okay. So I'll give you the background on this one. So, the campground board had been moving in a direction of trying to become a cashless campground, using that a little bit lightly, but to try and get as many of the transactions paid by credit card as possible. So, we were contacted, by Dawn. She kind of looked at how we've been operating, and she would like us to basically move even further that direction, so that the primary method of payment is going to be credit card, which I fully support that. The email that we have in front of you, I think one of the things that I spotted in this was a little bit maybe further than we might want to go, and that was in regard to new reservations. She also wants to have all of the money collected up front for any new reservations. And the only reason why I put it up as an issue, if something's coming in the year of 2025 for a reservation in 2025, I think that's fine. But the issue comes up with, we have a lot of people that come back year after year after year, and they come in on Memorial Day and they want to book for Memorial Day 2026. And in that situation, we have not in the past collected the deposit. We've waited until after the first of the year to collect payment, because we don't do accrual-based accounting for campground reservations. And so,
We don't have a way to account for the liability of this. So Paul's suggestion was that we would allow people to make reservations, but not make their payment until
Until
the first,
it's
in
within the
January of '26. So if they make that reservation early, we won't collect any money until the following year. Otherwise, we'll screw up our books.
Yeah.
yeah. So, like for anything within this current season, I don't have a problem with collecting everything up front. We can make those changes. The system can do that for us. That's fine. But if we're crossing over a future year, we need to wait until we get.
Makes
into that
good
year.
sense. Looking at the language overall, is there anybody who has a comment or who is uncomfortable with how we'd be collecting money ahead of time, or if we're going all cashless? Does anybody have a problem with that?
I think you're going all cashless then. Everything's gonna be on a credit card. There's not gonna be any cash being handled down there then.
And this was one of the big issues that when we had a campground committee, this is one of the big issues that was on the table, was this collecting for firewood with cash and not charging the sales tax on it and all the weird stuff that was going on, this prevents that from happening.
Do we charge a credit card surcharge fee?
Yes, we do.
Because if we're gonna go cashless, I think that has to go away, because it's not fair if they don't have another option.
Yeah.
So they
and
can
I
use a
think-
debit card.
Well, so it doesn't matter if they're using an electronic method of payment right now, the end user gets charged that fee. That was a decision that was made 2 years ago to do the pass-through, which I think is fine. But if we're doing that, we still have to give an option to the consumer. And I think now with the junk fees bill that passed, that went into effect January 1st, we have to give consumers another method of paying where they're not paying that fee. So I don't think we can go 100% cashless.
Would you guys be comfortable with that being a check?
No.
Cash check, I mean, whatever.
No,
you know?
No,
no
for
check,
out-of-towners.
no.
Okay,
checks, you
no,
could
no
have-
checks.
no.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, but
if
here-
we have a policy of, pay cash in the office or something like that, experience has told me the number of people that are gonna do that is very small.
but there are people who feel like,
Right, some people
I
do
go to
wanna do it.
Sammy's Pizza and I pay for my pizza
Yeah.
because they want 3%.
Yeah.
I'm not paying their credit card fees. They forget the days when we collected checks and 10% of your revenue was bad debt.
Yeah.
Now they want all the money, so I pay
And-
cash, and
and-
I understand how they're feeling.
To be clear, because I've asked this question of the system on my own, we do comply with the state law in terms of when people make a reservation, they have to put a credit card down and pay the deposit. So if we're gonna have everything up front and they want to not pay that user fee, we have to give them a way of not
How
paying
would
that.
you,
What,
debit card or cash?
why don't you just charge the extra 3% that, the credit card company's charging? And then you can let it just go as is. You just take the 3% that you're losing to the credit card company and add it to the rate for the night.
Just build it
And you-
into
yeah.
the.
And you don't have to deal with it.
That's not how people are doing it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a
Well, I mean-
suggestion.
I know, but
Yeah.
there
It's
are
late for us,
drawbacks.
it's late in the season for us to do that,
Yeah,
because then we're
'cause you
talking
would have
about
to raise
doing
your
a
rates
mid-year
by
change
3%, yeah.
by 3%.
Yeah.
You
Didn't they
to-
have it when they paid cash that the person down there would come up to City Hall every night or deposit that money at City Hall every day?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the process right now is they bring any cash up on a weekly basis. So I think
Is
that,
that the
at
pol-
least
that's
that's been,
policy
Did they,
that's
was
what
it
they've done in the
weekly,
past.
Mike? Did they
I
bring
thought
up?
it was-
They didn't do it.
They're supposed to.
Just say, the person in charge did things their way. And now they're no longer in charge.
Okay,
But so back to
well,
this.
Yeah.
let's just say,
Cashless in the future makes sense, but I think we need to also, if we went cashless, we would have to reevaluate.
I agree.
And maybe that's a next year thing.
So maybe
Yeah,
we
so
say,
just take the 3% hit.
well, we
Call it
take,
good.
well, we just say, we're
Yeah.
going cashless, but
Yeah.
if you don't have a credit card, which is possible, you can use a debit card or pay cash at the office.
this
Does
year,
that sound workable?
this year, you're saying,
Right now, yeah.
yeah, but we can change it for next year?
Well, we're always gonna have to have an option for people
The
who
thing is,
don't wanna
we're
pay the
taking,
3%.
the city's taking a hit of the 3%, and if you just let it slide, then it's no
But next
issue.
year, you can change the rates though.
Yeah.
That's
I
why
mean,
you can get
at-
it next year,
At
yeah.
least and it may be different in the office up here, but at least in terms of the campground system, if you're taking a card, it doesn't matter if it's a credit card or a debit card.
Okay.
That processing fee
Yeah.
gets charged to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Sometimes
and
they're not,
while
but
it
if
seems
they
like
are,
it's a small amount,
Yeah.
No, it adds up
during
quickly.
the course of the
Yeah.
year, it's about $5,000-6,000
So,
bucks.
so we're the store, so the store has to pay the 3%.
Right.
And if you're okay with that, then just let it
Well,
go.
that's
Don't
how
change
it-
nothing.
And that's how it's
Huh?
been, Bob, but
Huh?
nowadays, businesses, when they look at this and it accumulates, and you allow people to pay utility bills and other things with a credit card, when
And
you
that's what
take
we're
that
doing now.
3% on $500,000, and
But
all of a
the-
sudden, it's a lot of
But
money.
that's what we're doing now with PSN. The city's taking a 3% hit. When I pay my utility bill,
They're not making you pay that?
No,
No.
no, we're taking the hit.
But
And that was always the
You
case.
shouldn't
If
be.
you go to
No,
the-
we shouldn't,
if
but
you
we
go to-
are,
If
yeah.
you go to the
That's not
meeting-
this issue though, Bob.
Well, it is kind
Digressing.
of the same thing.
No, you're digressing.
It's a different issue, but
But
It's the same
we
thing.
can
Same
work on
thing,
it next
exactly.
year
Yeah.
into the rates and then
Yeah, then call it
Sure.
good,
Yeah.
like I suggested.
for next
yeah,
year.
Right.
For next year though, for next year. Right now, we got it figured,
Tell
solved.
me, so,
So this year, it's not mandatory, but it's encouraged to go cashless.
Yes.
fair enough.
So just change the verbiage on here of
Okay.
like,
If
we'll
you're
still
Well,
comfortable
then
with
you're
that,
gonna deal with cash
that-
again, and that's what I try.
Well, we got no
Why don't you
option.
just let it slide, we'll pay the
Legally, we have
3% and then you keep it cashless.
you have to give people an option.
yeah.
We have to give them an option.
There's a state
so-
law.
There's a
Oh,
state,
as
there's
long
a
as
state,
there's a state law, we have to follow it.
yeah, there's a state law that went in effect
Okay.
January 1st this year, that you-
Okay.
if you are charging these types of junk fees,
Okay,
which that's what, it's the junk fee law,
Yeah.
you have to give them the option to pay by cash and avoid the fee.
okay.
And we remember to fix that next year.
I
Sure.
went to a game down in the cities, and it was $6 to get in, and I could not pay in cash. I had to use a credit card or Venmo.
You had an option. Venmo.
That's still a fee.
I didn't make the state law, Rudy. I
Right.
know what you're saying though.
So
Okay,
they
no-
violated the state law.
Well,
What
they
action-
probably did, and now they
Okay.
may be changing things because there is a new state law, this junk law that Paul brought up here. So they probably will have to change that.
But again, to be clear, the
Yeah.
system itself, when people go through online booking, is fully compliant with the state
Yeah.
law.
So actually, there's no action that need to be taken, right?
Well,
I think we can work on softening this language a
sure.
little bit.
I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
But next
doesn't-
year, we will be reminded to fix this.
Sure, we can do it that way.
$6 and.
Well, you still need an option.
Yeah.
Well,
But we're trying to
why-
get away.
Why fix it then?
What we're really trying to get away from, Carl,
I
is
know
this
what you're saying, I know.
coming in buying
I know,
a
yeah.
coffee cup or a sweatshirt and all this cash rolling through where we're not having somebody accurately following the inventory and the cost of goods sold.
understand. But next year, we still have to have an option, why, so why
Yes.
change anything?
I think we should be good.
Yeah, okay. We're good to go, right?
Yep.
No motion
No
needed?
motion needed?
Everybody
Fair enough.
consensus on that?
And if you're good, I mean, I'm already involved in this, Mike and I can.
Sure.
We'll
soften the language up, we'll
Figure
get
out
it
what needs
done.
to be said.
All right, anything else we got? Miscellaneous? Nothing, it's all, everything's tied up? Motion to adjourn, somebody?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Counselor Vrtajnik, a second. Second by Counselor Horn. 7:14, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Adjourned, thank you. Good night.